So we're now picking the Welland apples, which are ripe. So they are basically all ripe. So we pick everything. And today we only do the outsides. And next week we do the inside rows, as they have ripened a little bit more than. But it's a nice thing to finish off the day today. As it's Saturday afternoon and it's good time to have a weekend. Well, we're now in the second pick of Elstar for our big field, and it rained already 30 millimeters tonight, and it's gonna keep raining for another 4 to 6 hours. So it will be extremely wet today. Luckily we got roofs above our heads with harvesting. That's a good thing in these days. So we are still harvesting. It's about 10 o'clock now, and it has been raining since 3 o'clock this night, and we got over 50 millimeters of rain so far, so it's extremely wet. But we just had coffee and the guys want to keep going as they don't seem to be wet enough, and it seems the roofs of the bucket tracks really do the job, so we're still picking. Now I do need to put bins on the trailers, so it's extremely wet here as this is heavy clay soil, so driving here is just a challenge. So that's the worst thing of today, having to drive in the wet sand. So let's see how that goes. So yesterday we quit harvesting at 12:30 because of the heavy rain. Everybody was soaked, and yeah, there was nothing we could do about it. With 50 millimeters of rain, that's just a lot, and it gets in everywhere. So it's best to call it a day at that moment and everybody take some rest and heat up at home for the rest of the day. So today we can continue going. So for that second pick, we just put everything in the bin. So the good, the bad and the small apples are all in one bin, and this is the result of that. As you can see, we got a lot of little ones, and the plan for now is to sort this out so that we get the little ones separated, all for apple juice, and with the bigger ones we can decide if we're gonna put them in Ulu storage or if we're gonna sell them for apple pie varieties. It depends a bit on how much cold store that we have left once we got all the other varieties in. We got enough Elstar with the amount that we got, with just that little bit which came off the big field and the other front field which also gave a little bit. But the home field just produced so much this year, and we got so much other varieties which we need to store this season. It's just a good thing that we bought all this equipment back in the years and spared it up over the years, maintained it, as right now we can use our sorting line to pre-sort our apples really fast. So we got a water system here, so we're gonna drop the bin down, and apples have the nice feature that they like to flow. So the apples will come out of the bin, and this is the most gentle way how we can empty a bin. So once the bin gets underwater, the apples will be pressed up and they will start to float, and then they can exit into the sorting line. So right now they start floating, and that's how we can empty a bin. Really nice. And this machine is 35 or 40 years old. Now here we got a dryer system. So these sponges, the apples will rotate on these. The apples will dry on the sponges because the sponges get squeezed out on the bottom side. On that line there, the apples get single lined, so they go in single lined into the sorting machine. That way we have an optimal distribution, and we are able to run about 1 kilo a second with this machine because of the pre-setup that we made on there, and that's really high. And I have to say, we never use it like that because we only sort a few bins of every variety every week. But right now we're running a complete field, so we want everything to go fast, so we're gonna sort really fast at this moment. So let's take a look. We got this big old Munkhoff bin filler, so we can start that one up if we put a foil in here. And this line is where the small apples are gonna exit. So this bin will just fill up with all the apples that are gonna go for the apple juice and the apple compote. So that's for sure not the apples that we want to consume. They are way too small, and that's all because we did a bit of an aggressive root pruning, and it might have been a little bit too aggressive for this season, but it's a sacrifice for the next season. Let's put a foil in and then we can get going. So 68.5 is the minimum that we take. And I still stand here because I want to take the rot stuff out, as we don't have a quality grade in here. So it means if we have a defect, we have to get that out manually. But that really isn't too big of an issue if you run the machine like this only a few times a year. Now that's going a lot nicer. A bit more calmed here, as we were getting a bit of an overflow. And if there's one thing you don't want on a surfing line, it's an overflow before the camera. Alright, so that was one bin. I think it takes a little less than 10 minutes to do a bin, and that's fine. I'm not running the machine full throttle because I can't get the infeed correctly by just being alone. So I have to run it a little bit slower. If you would be with two persons, then we could get the infill properly. So bin coming up. Let's put the next bin on. And we're ready to run again. Got a new bin for the bad ones again, so we should be good.
Apples in a tumble, rolling down the line. Some are looking golden, some have lost their shine. Thick skins hiding secrets, thin ones can't pretend. The clock is ticking louder, the sword it never ends. Sort 'em fast, sort 'em clean, good or bad, thick or thin. Stack 'em high, let's begin. Keep the rhythm, apple spin. Peel back the mystery, every bruise and scar. A story in the sweetness tells you who they are. Some are built for pies and some for just one bite. Catch 'em in the moment before they fade from sight. Oh, it's a rush, a crazy race. Apples fly in every place. Sort 'em fast, sort 'em clean, good or bad, they put in. Stack 'em high, let's begin. Keep the rhythm, apple spin. Peel back the mystery, every bruise and scar. A story in the sweetness tells you who they are. Some are built for pies and some for just one bite. Catch 'em in the moment before they fade from sight. Oh, it's a rush.
We did choose to harvest like that, put everything in one bin and sort it out afterwards. And we did choose to sort them out because there was between 40 to 70% of good apples in a bin. So it did make sense to sort them out, definitely since we can run that high speed in our sorting line. So that got us a lot of apples out of there. I think we ran a total of 150 bins through the machine in a week of time in the evenings. So we got a lot of good apples out of that, and we collected a full trailer of apple juice. So that's all not going in cold store because we don't want to store apples for apple juice. So this seemed to make the most sense, and we just had that many little apples which we had to get rid of, and this really seemed to have worked. And we sorted them on quite a thick thickness. That way we only got apples which we know for sure that will be good apples, and nobody will doubt if they are too small or not. As you could see in the very last shot, we were running with 2 persons, and then we could run bins even way faster. So we were doing about 7 minutes a bin. So that's quite a high capacity for that kind of job. And if you're interested in seeing more about the sorting line, I got a lot more videos on YouTube about what things we did. Like we restored the pre-sorting line of it, and we also restored the computer, the power supplies, and a lot of other things which make the machine run flawlessly by today. Now, if you liked the video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And stay tuned for the next video, as it's harvest time, so a lot more videos will come.